Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce myself first. My name is Fitra Saskia. I'm a student from Universitas Pamulang in Faculty of Letter. Well, today I'm going to present about my final project. My final project is about language and culture. This is my final project for my socio-linguistic course. Well, ladies and gentlemen, first let me review about language and culture. First, I would like to give the slide. For the first slide, here I define the relationship between language and culture. Well, according to Rita Mae Brown, language is the roadmap of a culture. It means that it tells us about where people came from. Yeah, so culture and language is cannot separated because every culture has their own language, and language is reverse to the culture, so the both of them cannot separate. And then, well, the definition of culture is a social acquire people have to know in order to function in a particular society, while language is identity of the culture. So language is the identity for the culture. Many different culture has their own language. So after we know about the definition about language and culture, we can conclude that language and culture is the thing that cannot separate it well, because language and culture is the part of linguistics. So in sociolinguistics, there are three hypotheses. In here, no, I mean not three hypotheses, but here I would like to explain three hypotheses. Here I use the hypothesis verb, second verb, kinship, and the last one I will explain about taxonomies. Okay, let's continue to the wolf. The definition of wolf. What is wolf? What is wolf? One long-standing claim concerning the relationship between language and culture is that the structure of a language determines the way in which speakers of that language view the world. Worf extend this idea going much further than saying that there was a predisposition. In Worf's view, the relationship between language and culture was deterministic one. Okay, let's move to the kinship. Okay, let's continue to discuss about kinship. What is kinship? Okay, kinship is how people in various parts of the world refers to relative by blood and marriage. Term, word, and language in kinship develop as the result of marriage. For example, we call our parents with the term of father and mother. And another example, however, we call father's father, and father's mother in the term of grandfather. The other And another example, we called mother's brother and father's brother in term of uncle. We called father's sister's son and mother's sister's son in term of cousin. And here we have to realize that different place will imply the different term of kinship terminology. Let's continue to taxonomies. What is taxonomies? Taxonomies is people also use language to classify and categorize various aspects in the world in which they live. So taxonomies deal with the classification and categorization of things. So we can conclude that taxonomies is classification and categorization about things. For example, the classification of flora and fauna. the classification of the part of trees, and many other classification. Okay, I think that's all the three parts of the three terminology in word and culture or language and culture. I hope it can be useful for another student, and it can be useful for me also. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.